Diane, my wheat field looks like this. It's got white heads to it. What does that mean? Is that good wheat or bad wheat?
At this time of the year, that's not great wheat. So we're here talking about different wheat diseases, and when we see this type of white discoloration or that tan discoloration in the head, a lot of times people think fusarium head blight, which it can be, and I actually have examples of that here, but because this entire plant is dying back, this looks more like a root disease. The good news is that we've seen very little wheat disease this year, very few root diseases, very few foliar diseases, and it's been a really low year for fusarium head blight this year. So far the wheat's looking pretty good.
So is that weather?
A lot of that is weather related. Yeah, it's just been a year that we haven't seen it very much. We've had good conditions during emergence, and we have not had good conditions for disease development, which not good conditions for disease development is good conditions for the farmers.
That's right. Now, you've got some wheat scab here.
Yes.
And so that's probably the most common thing around anywhere. Okay. What's the management suggestions for getting rid of wheat scab or preventing wheat scab?
Yeah, so wheat scab, it's a really important disease. It's common across the entire Midwest in the United States. And it's a concerning disease because it reduces yield, but it also reduces quality and it increases mycotoxin production within the grain. So you can end up with toxins accumulating in those grains. Management is difficult because usually by the time we see symptoms, it's too late to manage this year. So the only thing you can really do at that point is try to be aware of where it is in the field and maybe harvest around those really heavily infected areas so that you can keep your clean seed separate from the infected seed. So when you take it to the elevator, when you take it in for storage, you're not mixing it all together. What we do recommend though is there are a lot of varieties with resistance, and so we always recommend using resistance when you're looking at what to plant the next year. There are also fungicides that are very effective, but they have to be applied at flowering before you see the disease develop. So if it's a good year for disease, if we expect to see a lot of disease, then we really recommend that you go consider fungicide applications.
Now, is this something that stays in the soil, so 3 years later I'm going to have it back again?
Yeah, unfortunately, this pathogen can persist in soil. It can also persist on crop debris. So if you are going wheat into wheat, or it can also persist in corn debris. So anything like small grains or, again, corn, we really recommend rotation into something with a legume such as alfalfa or soybean or cover crops can also help reduce that pathogen development because, yes, this can persist.
Diane Plewa of the University of Illinois Plant Clinic says her staff would be happy to help you determine diseases on plants if you submit samples. Instructions for doing that can be found on the web if you Google Illinois Plant Clinic. Also, as far as crop protection, Dr. Boris Camiletti, who is a plant pathologist at the University of Illinois, talked with the wheat research tour and indicated that one of the things that he's researching is the use of drones to determine just how far above the canopy and how much spray should be applied for disease control in wheat.
Of course, you've got one of these toys like a lot of farmers have.
Yes, I finally got my one. A long time trying to get one, and finally I have it and I can use it, and it's a lot of fun.
Tell me what you're using it for and how is it best used if a farmer wants to use it best?
So I have to be honest, my main goal with this was not to use a backpack to spray so many treatments during the summer, in corn for example, yeah, that we know is a very hot and humid environment. So with this one, we can just spray from our cars using the AC. That was one of the main objectives. But then, as I mentioned, when I went to the first soybean meeting, I realized that a lot of farmers were using drones to spray pesticides. They are very new, so there are a lot of uncertainties, some things that we don't know. So we are doing a lot of research trying to calibrate and find the best way to use them to apply pesticides and protect our crops.
I think a lot of the questions are how high or how low do I put it over the crop, and is it really getting down to where it needs to be? So that's something that you're working on and have answers for them?
Yeah, so specifically in wheat, we have like 2 projects. One of them is trying to find the best volume to spray. So we are trying 2, 3, and 5 gallons per acre. As we increase the gallons per acre, it will take more time for the drone to do the job because it will move slower. So we are trying to see if reducing the spray volume, we can still control, in this case, fusarium head blight, that we need to protect the spike, right? If that is the goal, mainly how far the mist is going into the canopy probably is not that relevant because the spikes are out there and we can protect them. But for example, if we want to protect the flag leaf, is something that we need to do research on. And also, for example, in corn, we need to protect the ear leaf. So that is something also that we need to consider. We always need to corroborate. But so far, the evidence that we have in collaboration with Purdue, with Dr. Telenko, is telling us that the fungicide is getting there and is protecting the leaves in a similar way that using a ground rig that will give you like 15 gallons per acre, right? So we don't see any big effect controlling the disease. So this seems to be working, but still there is a lot of research that we need to do to calibrate.
All right. Will you have some of that this fall that farmers can see over the winter and make any decisions or management changes for next year then?
Yes, yes. So all our trials in corn that we are focusing on tar spot will be sprayed with a drone so they can see the quality. Last year we got very good disease levels also with southern rust in corn, and you could tell the difference where the drone was working and compared with the control, and you can see the stripe in the field.